Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Riley Flynn Wookie Cookie here again with another video. This is finally going to be my review of the latest Dragonforce album, Reaching into Infinity. And oh my god, this album kicks ass! Look at the album cover. It has the chrome dragon from the Ashes of the Dawn video flying over the portal that we saw in that video. And you have all sorts of sci-fi ships and stuff off to the sides. Looks amazing. And right off the bat, I gotta tell you, this album is just, it's not disappointing at all. You know how ZP, all of the albums with ZP had the exact same style? Well, this fits in with Mark Hudson's series as well. This is just amazing. He does a great job. This is the Dragonforce you know and love, and some new stuff, and I'll elaborate on that later. You have some new stuff and some old stuff in this, and let's check out these tracks one by one. This album is amazing. Now, the album opens up with the title track, Reaching into Infinity, which is actually an instrumental, of all things. It's nice, as much as you can get out of a song from Dragonforce. Nice guitar work, nice instrumental work, very simple stuff, but it gets you pumped up for the album. Very simple, but good job nonetheless. Great stuff. Next up is Ashes of the Dawn, which was the third single release for this album, and this is my favorite song off the album. I really like the simple guitar and instrumental work at the beginning, and it just explodes, and it has an awesome riff. It has my favorite chorus of the entire album, and one of my favorite choruses from Dragonforce in general. And right after the awesome guitar solo, you have the emotional part, which I'm not too much of a fan of emotional stuff, but Dragonforce manages to pull it off well. Whenever Mark Hudson's singing about "I have seen the sorrow in your eyes," that part really just works. It's so awesome, especially in the video when Mark Hudson is singing that part and staring into the eyes of the chrome dragon. My favorite song off the album by far. Best guitar work, instrumental work, best solo, best chorus. I love this song. This is my favorite personally. Next up we have Judgment Day, which was the first single release for this album, and it is probably my second favorite song off the album. It has a really weird intro to it, because normally Dragonforce just explodes and then instantly comes to a halt when it's done. But this, it had a build up, and it also had a build down, so to speak, near the end. So it kind of just went up and down instead of just start stop. Now the intro was kind of weird because it was kind of like EDM-y and it wasn't necessarily metal. It had like some weird symphonic music or something, which was kind of weird at first, but then I started to like it, and I love the chorus, even though it's pretty mediocre by Dragonforce standards, but still great. And the guitar solo is great, and right after the guitar solo, they have another emotional part, and then it kind of just repeats. But I love the initial part when it gets emotional, and then it just carries on again, but much heavier, and that's how the song kind of dies down. So it builds up and dies down. It was quite experimental. I was quite skeptical at first, but I learned to love it. Great song. Next up is Astral Empire, and this song sounds very old school. It sounds like the Dragonforce we knew back when ZP was the singer, in my opinion, because the guitar and the instruments just burst out right at the beginning. The verses sound like a combination of ZP's style and Mark Hudson's style, but the choruses, definitely ZP. And the guitar solo, crazy. Definitely ZP era. Like, everything just reminds me of the old school Dragonforce. So if you're an old school Dragonforce fan that didn't like Mark Hudson, you might want to listen to this song, because the solo, the instruments, intro, and the vocals, for the most part, including the choruses, sound very old school. Just nice Dragonforce that just goes all crazy, essentially, like the good old days, even though I like both eras. Next up is Curse of Darkness, which is a reference to Castlevania, just like Symphony of the Night from 2014's album Maximum Overload. And this song has a line that goes, "Hear my endless cries," which is similar to Symphony of the Night's "Hear their distant cries." And I really like this song, but not nearly as much as Symphony of the Night, but this is still a good song. Great instrumental work, good chorus, standard Dragonforce chorus, and there's a line that goes, "Your pain will be my delight," and there's another line, and Mark Hudson does this in a growl, and I was surprised. I was like, this is not Dragonforce, but it still sounds awesome, and it's just, the lyrics and the way he growls is just very powerful. You have a good solo, and after that you have an emotional part. The emotional part isn't nearly as good as Judgment Day or Ashes of the Dawn, but it's right after he's done the emotional part where it just builds right back up and it just explodes, and it's awesome. I really love how the tone just changes. Overall, great stuff. I like the experimentation with the growling and just the way it turns after the emotional part. Good stuff. Great chorus. I can't wait to see maybe another Castlevania song in the next album. And yes, I thought to myself, will we see more growling in this album? And oh boy, Dewey. This is a fantastic song. Probably my third favorite song in general, and this was the second single released on this album. Next up is Silence, which is a tribute to a friend of the band who passed away from suicide. The song has very simple notes leading in and leading out. Nice chorus, nice instrumental work, very emotional song with deep lyrics that are both bittersweet because they're sad and inspiring at the same time, sort of in a way. Very emotional song, but with a good chorus. I think this song is on par with You're Not Alone. Dragonforce can definitely do emotional songs as well as badass songs. Great work on this one. Next up is Midnight Madness, which made me very skeptical when I heard the name because I thought it was going to be like some kind of sale at Walmart or something, like Black Friday or something like that. I'm sorry, but I thought this was going to be a cheesy song, but it's actually one of the best ones off the album. Not as much as, it's probably maybe my fourth favorite song, I'd say. And you know the whole gist, good instrumental work, great vocals, but the chorus, the build up to the chorus, bigger tongue twister than the final chorus from The Last Stand, Sabaton's song off their latest album. Big tongue twister, but the chorus is just fantastic, along with the guitars and all that stuff. The guitar sound kind of sounds kind of old school, you know, ZP era Dragonforce, so that's always nice. I'm always a fan of the old stuff. Great song. Maybe my fourth favorite song off the album. I thought it was going to be cheesy. It's probably one of the better ones. Good stuff. Fantastic. Next up we have not war, but war. All capitals, exclamation mark. Now you know stuff is getting real. Now, I was pretty interested with this song because of the fact that I just said it was all caps and exclamation point. I was like, what is up with this? So, remember when I said there was growling in 2 lines from Curse of Darkness, and I was wondering if they were going to do more? This song has tons of growling. Tons of growling. Very powerful song, but there's also tons of the traditional power metal voice to complement the growls. Mark Hudson does a great job here. This is a very powerful song. This is like a protagonist telling a story about maybe a friend, or more than likely a relationship that he was in, and how that person was backstabbing him, lying, and how that person was completely fake. And this song, like the title says, it's just war. So it's just brutal. It starts off with a haunting guitar, then just full-out instrumental, powerful stuff. The chorus has just strong lyrics and growling, and of course the traditional power metal voice. The solo is awesome, and just the way the song just ends, everything is just powerful. Also, I find it funny that they use all caps and exclamation point. Like, it just reminds me of that bonus level you get for beating Perfect Dark in the very highest difficulty, Perfect Agent. Just a side note, you know, with the 3 Scare Kings. That game was awesome. I might do a review of that eventually. Well, I will definitely. But anyways, this song is amazing. Really interesting stuff. They took a huge risk going with a bit of a, dare I say, death metal route, even though it's not definitely not death metal, but just the way they did the growling. They experimented. It was different. Some would argue it's not Dragonforce, but it was still pretty awesome. So War is absolutely fantastic. Great instrumental work. Powerful. Just hard-hitting as all hell. Fantastic stuff. I'm just ripping on myself at this point. Let's just move on to the next stuff. This stuff is great. Next up, Land of Shattered Dreams. This is a song about fighting for your dreams, making sure you can achieve whatever you want, disregarding the unbelievers, and fighting for a place where you can escape reality. Great instrumental work, great vocals, you know the gist. The chorus is fantastic, and the solo is long and crazy. This is a great lengthy song with a lot of instrumental masterpieces, and this is just fantastic. Very inspiring song. You know the gist. This is awesome. Next up, The Edge of the World. This is officially the longest Dragonforce song of all time as of now, even surpassing Soldiers of the Wasteland by a couple of minutes. Now, this song is pretty mild. Unlike the other Dragonforce songs, it doesn't go crazy. It's actually pretty mild throughout the whole time. But Mark Hudson, he doesn't just growl. He goes full-on death metal style growling. Something you'd hear from Breaking Benjamin. Great instrumental work throughout the whole thing. You know what I'm talking about. And the chorus isn't really crazy either. It's actually pretty just powerful, but not crazy. And like I said, the instrumental work, lots of solos, lots of bridges. Everything is just crazy. This is not as good as Soldiers of the Wasteland, but it's still a great song, great theatrical symphony, great stuff, great opera, but Soldiers is better. But nonetheless, this is still amazing. Definitely a great, great song. Last up, we have Our Final Stand, which I don't have a whole lot to say about, actually. It's a good conclusion, and I'm just going to repeat myself. Good chorus, good instrumental, yada yada, good solo. It's just what you like about Dragonforce. It's what it is, and it's a great conclusion, but we have bonus tracks to get to. This is a great song. Just excellent stuff. More of what you like. That's always nice to have. Now, the first special edition bonus track is Hatred and Revenge, and it sounds like a classic power metal song. Not just Dragonforce, but classic power metal. Just everything from the guitars to the vocals, everything just sounds old school. And like I said before, great riff, great vocals, great solo, whole 9 yards. But it just sounds like an old school power metal song, like something from Blind Guardian or Halloween or something. Definitely Blind Guardian, but very fantasy orientated, old school power metal. You're gonna love this song. I wish they would have just made it not a bonus track, but a traditional song. Amazing homage to power metal. Great stuff. The second special edition bonus track is a cover of Evil Dead by Death. I'm not a huge death metal fan. I'm a huge metal fan, but not death metal. I really like Amon Amarth. That's the only death metal band that I really, really like. But I listened to the original Evil Dead by Death, and I really liked it. It was a pretty good song. And this cover is basically just that song, but in the style of Dragonforce, which I know that's pretty much what a cover is supposed to be, but some people try to imitate the original artist. But Dragonforce doesn't try to imitate the original artist. They try to take that song that's awesome by Death, and they try to make it awesome by Dragonforce standards. And of course, we know from this album that Mark Hudson can do great death metal vocals because of Curse of Darkness and War. So now we know that it's perfect for this cover. Fantastic original song and fantastic cover. Really interesting stuff. The last song on the album is a Japanese bonus track titled Gloria, and it is a Ziggy cover. Exact same thing as the Evil Dead cover, just the song Gloria, but done in the style of Dragonforce. Except the vocals in Dragonforce sounds like they're trying to imitate Ziggy. So, it's still Dragonforce style, but they're kind of trying to be a bit like Ziggy. This was a really interesting song. Even more crazy than Ring of Fire. Good stuff. Overall, this was a fantastic album. It kicks ass. They're trying to do a lot of old school stuff that was like ZP era as well as the Mark Hudson era, and they're trying to experiment with like death metal vocals. Really interesting stuff. I cannot wait to see what they do in the future. This was a very successful album. Another great Mark Hudson album, as well as another great Dragonforce album in general. Power metal is alive, and heavy metal and metal in general is alive. Thank you guys for watching. This is Morale Filling Wookie Cookie, and I'll catch you guys next time.